Welcome back to ZEEGNITION. We're in discussion with our editor-in-chief, Adil, on the Volkswagen emission scandal. Now, Adil, let's bring in the Volkswagen car owner now. 11 million car owners out there going to get affected by the scandal. What does it mean for a car owner?
Oh, first and foremost, the car owner brought it keeping in mind the high standards which Volkswagen sets for engineering, for performance, for even being a green car. Selling green cars, really great, and I think this has dented that image quite a lot. Fact of the matter, it's not just about Volkswagen branded cars, because the same engines do the business in Audis, especially the A4, the Q3, so cars which are also available in India. Same way for cars with the Skoda and the Seat brands. So the ramifications of this are huge for the group as such, and not just for the brand alone. I think they need to really get down to finding out and erasing this issue at the earliest. How they do it will determine whether they are up to it or not. Otherwise, it will just linger on. And one thing is, engineering solutions can be found, and a lot of cars, however big the number may be, could be what you call settled. But the stigma attached to this way of behavior is rather hard to erase, and it will take a lot of time. So how Volkswagen does that is going to be watched very, very carefully.
Now, that to bring in the Indian perspective, now of course the United States works on Euro 6 emission norms. We are still on 3 and now 4. Do you think that this will have any kind of an effect on Indian cars?
Yeah, to a certain extent in the mind, of course, yes. We are a very, very aspirational market, aspirational society. We are going further. Volkswagen cars are also have a certain stature in India, and in fact the 1.6 liter EA 189 engine also works in both the Polo and the Vento in India. So, but yes, they meet the Indian emissions regulations, so the engines in whatever form they are very, very clean to meet that. So, but again, like I told you, it's the stigma which is attached to a big brand, which everyone thought was beyond this.
So do you think that some of these ramifications are going to happen to some of Volkswagen's other brands, Audi?
Oh yes, it's already happened, because I think 2.8 million Audis are also suspect, and the numbers from Skoda and Seat have yet to be known, but I think it's a frightfully huge number. I wouldn't like to be in Matthias Muller's shoes right now. And I think Winterkorn might have what you call understood the enormity of the situation there and there itself. But fact of the matter is, Volkswagen tried to grow too big too soon. And I thought this unbridled ambition, nothing wrong with that. It's just that they skipped certain steps which they should not. And that has come to haunt them big time.
Do you think that in all of this, the image of diesel is getting tarnished perhaps?
Oh yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Let it not be a thing against diesel. Historically, the Americans have never understood diesel. They have a different approach to life where fuel is sometimes cheaper than water there. So then to what you call try to get diesel into the equation where their big V8s run on slow revving American engines, big 5-7 liter engines. So it's a very different issue across over there, where in Europe NOx is predominant. The Europeans have always understood that the killer greenhouse emission gas is for haunting the world is CO2. The Americans talk NOx with automotive emissions more than CO2. So there is this big debate or disconnect or that tussle between Europe and the USA. I think USA was trying to see how best it could discredit diesel, and diesels were getting a big toehold in the USA. So I think all these things, there's some political stuff also which is in the background, but nothing can take away from the fact that the EA 189 engines had some wizardry which really helped them on the test bed and didn't do the business out in the real world.
Well, of course, it's time to take a short break, but we're going to continue this conversation as well as bring in a little bit more of the Indian perspective as well as what the regulators can do. All this after this short break.